Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 9th November 2020. The first article for discussion, turning the spotlight on America's election custodian. You can see a lot of confusion that is going on after the election. It took almost a week to declare elections and still it is not complete. Have you seen anything of this kind in India after independence? Never. The reason is a strong centralized institution called Election Commission of India. It was given residuary power under Article 324. It means any matter related to elections, when election process is on, the final decision maker is Election Commission. And once the results are declared, a smooth transition of power always happened across the states and union in India. Today, Trump is not agreeing to the election outcome. It makes the America the big banana republic in the world. The oldest democracy is suffering from lack of systems and processes. But don't we have election commission in USA? Yes. A federal election commission exists which is almost non-functional. And second, its mandate is very minimal. It is limited to overseeing the election campaign expenditure and public expenditure related to the elections. Other than that, it has no responsibility. And 6 commissioners have to be there, 3 from Republicans, 3 from Democrats. Their positions are never filled, and many decisions are pending at the commission due to lack of minimum number of members. At least 4 members are there to decide the matters there, and quorum is always missing. As on today, only 2 commissioners are there on the commission. So that's why I always say to the students, any governance, institutions matter. Institutions make process-centric administration. If not, it becomes more persona-centric. Lack of proper institutions and processes makes the things confused and also creates conflicts, and legitimacy of the actions or legitimacy of the verdicts may not be conceived well. So I request you, governance question comes up, you can quote Election Commission of India as an example for having a strong institutions for democracy. So democracy and governance needs strong institutions. I have kept these points over here and I have explained them as differences between Indian Election Commission and Election Commission of United States of America. Added to that, as per our constitution, courts are not supposed to intervene when the election process is on. Only after the election is completed, any disgruntled person can file for an election petition. It is not in the case of United States of America. You can see Trump, he rather than going to the election commission is going to the Supreme Court for various election related disputes. Obviously, intervention of the courts will delay the election process and the democracy can face trouble. These are the points. The next article for discussion is the US vote is about building back better. Trump's presidency is known for unconventional decisions. It is more persona-centric than process-centric. Second, USA moved away from various agreements. Rules-based world order got threatened. One way, Trump's decisions are said to be a reason for the rise of China. If we take a critical analysis at Trump's phase in USA, multilateralism got worst affected. USA moved out of Paris Climate Change, Trans-Pacific Partnership, Transatlantic Trade Agreements, added to that UNESCO, WHO, Human Rights Council, many of the things for that matter. So, what is worst hit is the rules-based world order and multilateralism. The second thing is, America is divided like never before. Congress got divided, Senate is divided, people are divided. In this divided country, having a unanimous opinion on any matter is almost impossible. As he is challenging the election, the divisions are expected to continue further. In such a scenario, incoming president rebuilding the trust with the people and also building trust among the people is a greater challenge. If you observe, Trump got close to 7 crore votes. It means more or less few lakhs. He's got equivalent votes to Biden. In such a context, The matters raised by the Trump are also important for America, especially immigration related issues, loss of jobs in central parts of America. If you clearly see, the coastal states are all blue states and central American states, these are mostly red states. Why this kind of thing is happening? Because mining etc. took a hit, manufacturing sector took a hit in USA. So Trump wants to support blue collar workers. And second, as IT industry or new sunrise industries are coming up in services sector, these are getting filled with people from other countries, that is immigration. So Trump wants to check it, but Biden said that he will encourage the talent and merit into the country. And finally, what we can say is the job is not easy for Biden because there is an economic collapse on one side, there is COVID-19 and healthcare challenges on the other side. So these are the things which the point this article talks about. The next article is also related to America and India relations. If you take India and Biden, so Biden worshipped India at some moment of his life, or he ensured that the pluralism gets due respect across the world stage. Today, Mr. Trump and Mr. Modi made India-USA relationship surrounded by personalized summits. You saw this Ahmedabad rally and then Houston rallies. Trump Sarkar Ab Ki Baar or something Modi has been stated. In this case, it is an unwise move. Why? No Prime Minister shall openly endorse an internal political matter of another country. So it will build bad bridges. So Biden is expected to move past that, and as a career diplomat is expected to rebuild the bridges with the Indian administration. On the other side, Kashmir issue, Citizenship Amendment Act, NRCs, religious freedoms, these will be critically looked at by the Biden government. And second, with regard to visas, immigration, Biden may see it in a positive light. Already he has spoken about it. And multilateralism, climate change, etc., Biden is expected to bring America back into the talks. On the Afghanistan, Biden is not expected to reverse the decisions of Mr. Trump, as he himself has suggested to Obama for a safe exit from Afghanistan. And finally, trade, generalized system of preferences, India is being removed from this. So this is expected to be restored. What is the takeaway point? The personalized summits between Prime Minister and President will be replaced by process-centric diplomacy in the future. That's how we can put it as. And other articles, they talk about the essential points which I have discussed here. As America is divided, what Mr. Biden said is either red states or blue states, they do not exist after the election. What we have is United States. He wants to give hope over fear, optimism over cynicism, and he wants to ensure to be the president of everyone, not just the people who voted him. And next, Iran nuclear deal, etc. of Obama era were reversed by Mr. Trump. So Hassan Rouhani, president of Iran, says these mistakes need to be corrected. This is what is said in this article. Next is walk the talk. If India has to attract the investments, what is required? Regulatory certainty. Remember this point, and it is very essential for you to take into your exam. So regulatory certainty is the most important thing. A predictability of the government actions, rules and laws it brings in is essential. If continuity is absent, it is dangerous. In this case, if you are applying the tax laws or rules retrospectively, that is going to be burning the pockets of the investors. If you take Vodafone case, it is nothing but a retrospective tax imposition case. An international arbitration tribunal also gave judgment in favorable to Vodafone, and what is the way forward of government of India is not been clear yet. Recently, arbitration law is also amended. Retrospectively, they can analyze the various deals for looking into corruption or fraud. See carefully. Let us take, I came into an agreement with government and I did some project to government and we have got certain issue. When I went to arbitration, government can resort to it saying that there is corruption in that and order for certain unnecessary investigations and can harass me. That way, they can dissuade from me from going into arbitration. And third thing is, recently another law related to wholesale and online sales is also amended. This regular change in rules, what it does, it brings in regulatory uncertainty, and government becomes a spanner or throws a spanner in the flows of investment. Prime Minister Modi said that the FDI flows in India increased by 13%. Let us verify this statement also. Most of the investments have come into Reliance Jio. Because of Reliance Jio, one single company investments, that's how it appeared that 13% rise. But see, it is only stake sale. It is not creation of new companies on the ground. In such a case, new jobs will not be created with such an investment flow. And Prime Minister Modi repeatedly stated that returns with reliability, demand with democracy, stability with sustainability, and growth with green approach. This is what is the way forward for investors in India. In such a case, focusing on ease of doing business, the emphasis shall be on regulatory certainty. Remember this word, regulatory certainty. You can quote the Vodafone as an example. COVID-19 climate and carbon neutrality. This article is by Jairam Ramesh. COVID-19, how can we explain from the perspective of environment? If you have watched this movie Contagion, you will understand this. Loss of forests, it has made the wildlife or wild birds to come into human lives. And second, these wild birds also brought in various diseases with them. And humans started consuming new kinds of pandemics, diseases we are witnessing. So loss of ecology, environment, and disrespect towards biodiversity and evolution that has caused the COVID-19. Can we say that way? In such a case, our climate change is going to create more disasters to us, and it is going to cause more of a pain to all of us. So we have to deal it with an emergency. In this case, carbon neutrality is the word we need to remember what it refers to. Your net emissions of the carbon into atmosphere has to be zero. How much you sequestrate or remove the carbon from the atmosphere, how much you release have to be equal. So what author is trying to say is European Union and then European countries, then China, all these have made a target for themselves. So let's take California, a state in USA. It has made a target by 2045. European countries by 2050, China by 2060 to achieve carbon neutrality. Two countries conspicuously absent from these targets are India and USA. Next, let us see another point. How India tries to project its discussions. It is based on per capita emissions. Per capita emissions means total emissions by population. Obviously, the denominator is high in India because of huge population. Per capita emissions are going to be less. Author says that climate change is going to worst affect the countries like India itself. So India also has to come forward to commit itself to the carbon emission reduction. India did not commit to it. India stated that it will bring 40% of its electricity from non-fossil fuels by 2030. That's a great commitment. In this case, Germany stands as a very good example for that. So, emission reductions from its energy sector through bioengineering models. Remember the word geoengineering, not bioengineering, it is actually geoengineering models. Is going to be an example. So whenever you want to quote about carbon reductions, the energy sector in Germany is a classical example which has reduced its emissions by 45%. And when we go to transport sector, Norway stands as an example. So climate change examples quote Germany, Norway, etc. these countries. Next is strategic comfort with the Maldives. When Gayoom was the president in Maldives, he took Maldives close to China. After that, Salih government has come. Today, Salih is the president. His policy is India first policy. In this scenario, Gayoom and opposition wants India out. Salih wants India to be supportive of Maldives. From very beginning, Maldives got lot of support and attention from India. Operation Cocoon, if you can recollect, the Gayoom government was about to be overthrown by military coup, and India sent its navy to support the Gayoom regime. And second, when tsunami has come up in 2004, India has given all necessary support to rebuild Maldives. And finally, during COVID 19, India gave a loan, a grant of $250 million to face the health emergency. And most of the health needs, Maldivians are dependent on India. I think India also built an Indira Gandhi hospital, super specialty hospital in Malay. So this clearly states that India has goodwill diplomacy in Maldives. So protecting or else democracy in Maldives is essential for good relations with India. Second, Mr. Nasheed, he was the president before Gayoom. So Mr. Nasheed and Salih belongs to Maldivian Democratic Party. There are internal squabbles between them. So this may affect the stability of the government that need to be taken care of. These are the points for discussion today. Thank you very much. Have a great day.